Get rid of some power washing. Oh my god. I gotta sell my soul before I can begin power washing? Jesus, man. No, I had to sell my soul to state before I could begin power washing. Cookie. Chocolate cookies? That kind of cookies? Enter special occasions. Why is there no music? Is there no music in the menu? Options. Damn, those are a lot of languages. For no Danish. Oh. Field of view. 100. Or was that dirt detail? What? Ah, everything's not loud, so I should be fine. How many special locations are there? Ah, just the Tomb Raider one. Okay. Well, career mode. Joggle weird and wonderful cleaning jobs and try to make your new power wash business a success. You can start a career with someone else. You're sick. And clean the moon? Let's just do start career. Clean the van. Great news. Why is there no music? I don't even get music in the menu from selling my soul. What is this? Great news. Finally found a van for you at the auctions under your budget. Don't forget when you see it. Looks like it's just been dreaded from the bottom of a lake. That's a good thing. It meant no one else bid on it. They missed out. Underneath that hideous layer of gunk is your perfect workhouse. Engine's a dream, no rust. There's even equipment in the bag. There's a good hosing down on you in business. You'll suddenly earn your pressure washing stripes getting this thing clean. Who's paying me to do this? Am I paying myself $150 for cleaning my own van? I don't have time to read all that. It loads too fast. Oh, thank God. More games should have this now. Since fucking it's all about SSDs nowadays. More games should have this in the loading screen. And let you click advance. So you actually have time to read all this stuff. All the tips. Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out. Go. I think 100 FOV. Monka Giga, that might be too much. Oh my god, it's changes in real time. 1090. Oh my god. I turn like a turtle. Oh. Control the sensitivity. Whoop. There's no way that's maxed out. Really? Control the cursor sensitivity. That's this thing, isn't it? Yeah. The fuck? That's maxed out? I don't feel maxed out at all. I turn like a turtle still. And go prone. There's still no music. Can I not afford a radio? Current loadout. Clothing. power washing ASMR. Which nozzle? Change stance. What is? Oh, is that how wide it is? Oh yeah. Gotta clean a blue van. How convenient, or is this power washing on it? Tires as good as new. I have unlimited water. Is it clean? No, you missed the spot. Hey, you missed the spot right there. How the hell am I gonna clean the roof? Can I see my own reflection in it? Does it look clean? No, we missed the spot. Pick up place. Who's the gnome? Oh. I cannot make him sit up again. Omega wide. This one's not that good though, is it? Like, it doesn't clean that because it's too wide. Hopefully I forgot to close the window. Oh, the inside of the car is going to be completely soaked. Exactly, feels rain, man. It's gonna be the inside of the car if I forgot to close the window. Prone. Tactical power washing. What did that say? Stuff's so awkward, there's no music. Jump. Oh, that's how I'm gonna clean the ceiling. Yeah, did I miss a spot? Can you see it? Did I miss a spot anywhere? Oh, yeah, I missed it right there. We good now? Is it gone? Did I miss any spots? I right there too. Holy fuck, what happened to this thing? Wait, I don't think I cleaned the back. No. Show dirt. Oh, it's really dirty down here still. Is the music muted or something? No way, right? There's just nothing playing. Music. There's no music. Nope, right now. Indeed. I forgot to download the music DLC, I guess. Feels bad, man. Wait, what was the show dirt? Aim mode? Oh. Fucking watering my whole entire garage. Oh wait, it stays in aim mode. Oh my god, I don't. Jesus Christ, man. It's out of control now. Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Water company's gonna be loaded after this, cause you see how much water I'm using here for this shit? Do I just have unlimited water? As long as I can pay the water bill. People rich, we're gonna be loaded. Thank God this guy became a power washing guy. Oh, wait, really? Yeah, like there was a whole bunch of game modes. Oh, no, yeah, it told me a whole bunch of things. Oh, wait, that was for like 4 different game modes. Oh, yeah, here you go. Use challenge mode. Wash against the clock or water limit. Oh, yeah, there you go. I didn't even read that. Huh? Yeah, there you go. There you have unlimited water. Not unlimited water. Oh, yeah. We could always do that. Once we played a little bit of the campaign. Monka W? Sounds scary. Then I gotta make every little drop count. Every drop of water. Ah, shit, man. I wasted 1 milliliter of water. Rip. I gotta start over now. Whoops. I gotta make it all count, man. Gotta make every single water drop count. I can move. Why am I just standing here? Frame perfect water washing. Frame perfect power washing. Frame perfect movement and everything. But sure, there's a removals made outside my neighborhood's place. They're finally going. Whoever moves in there is gonna need a quick quality pressure washer. What? Ooh? Who is this? How do you have my number? What? Why? What? Why are you messaging me? I already have the van. Why? What? Stop messaging me, man. I don't know who you are. I already have the van. I don't know what you're talking about. I gotta clean the wind. Why is this here? Oh. Oh! Wait, what the fuck is that button? It just auto sprays it. Wait, how did I pick this up? Oh, you can quick swap this. Oh. There you go. Hold up. But while I remember, I think I have to clean this too, yeah. Fuck, what was the button? It was this button, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, this game also has multiplayer, which I had no idea about. Really surprised by that. It's cool though. It doesn't have crossplay though, unfortunately. Oh, I think it kinda does. To really budget crossplay, I think it's only PlayStation and Switch that can play. And then Xbox and PC can only play together. I kinda like that. Exactly, you gotta squat up a power simulator. You could be up to like 6 people in one of the things if I saw correctly. You gotta get the squad together. Gotta get that PowerWash squad. Tactical call-outs. That wasn't clean before. I got tactical call-outs. I got the rear view window. I got the rear view window clear. Oh, clean. Window 100% moving to side mirror. Switching nozzle. Switching nozzle. Oh, I don't have the correct nozzle. Do we have anyone with the 65? Anyone with a 65 nozzle on the squad? Need a 65 on the on the right side of the van. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and then you just have one guy that's just dedicated to walking around like this and be like, let's see, where the guys miss a spot? Dedicated dirt call out guy. Need a backup, not enough nozzles. Not enough nozzles. Watch out, backing up, spraying. Alright, clean. Moving on to the front car. What do I have to use for this? I guess this. The grill. You really want me to clean every single thing in here? How am I even supposed to clean that? No, like that. Waiting for PowerWash Esports. Announcer doing play-by-play. God, what would that even be like? Would it be like he's going into the garage, he's got his power washing spraying gun? Oh wow, what a bold choice. He's going for the wide nozzle here. And he's standing on the side. That's a very bold choice, very bold. Usually you see people go with the 65 nozzle or the 15 nozzle. Very bold choice here. Wonder what his strategy is. Well, it seems to be paying off. He's done with the right side. What's he doing now? Oh, he's going to the the roof of the car. What was that? He's going with the 15 nozzle. Interesting. I've never seen a strategy like this before here. What do you have to say about this, Jerry? Something like that. Oh, look at that! He jumped on the hood! Oh my god! His signature move! He jumped on the hood! Usually people, they go with the ladder, but this guy, now he's known for using the hood. He's a bold man. Bold choice. Oh, I'm done. Park. Sure, starting from the back, but they're trying out a new strategy here, it seems. Hopefully it'll pay off for them. This guy is a real maverick. He ignores the ladder and just jumps right on the van. Oh man, this guy's not to be messed with. He means business. He really wants to win this tournament, it seems. Really wants to win this $10,000 PowerWash tournament. Why is the gnome here? How do I open my iPad? Oh. Wait, is that me? Is that me? Who was filming me? But it ends with me standing on the ceiling? Wait, what the hell? Wait, that's fucking sick. It just records you, and then it shows you a video of you cleaning it at the end. Wait, that's cool. The AN looks fantastic. Tell you you'll be fine on the grim. I pinned you $100 left over from what you gave me. That should get you off the ground. I just met my new neighbor over the fence, grumbling about his dirty backyard. I told him to give you a shot. Like you get your first customer. What is this? You're gonna go with that business name? Or do you need to think some up? I'm a phenomenal. I thought of grounding Thomas. Grooting Thomas for that. Wait, what are these messages? What is going on here? Clean the back garden. Fuck, that's all the money. Hey, Doc. I hope you like a challenge, because I'm pretty sure I got the dirtiest backyard you've ever seen. It's not me bragging, by the way. It had nothing to do with it. I just moved back to town for a bit to help my folks, who are both down to their last knee. And rented what I thought was a great little place. There's a question why there weren't any garden pics in the ad. They must have bred rhinos or something. Anyway, my girls are itching to get out there, so I don't want them still itching on the back and sides. Please do your thing. Thanks a lot, Cal. You're paying me $450 for this? Holy shit, man. Okay. There's still no music. What the fuck happened here, man? Alright, let's first have a walkthrough of the establishment here. How does this even happen? How do you get dirt on the fence like that? Where does this dirt even come from? What were they doing here? Were they driving motocross bikes around? What the fuck? The house is clean though. Funnily enough, my first girlfriend from Paris used to live here back in the day. Those were good times. Let me do my fucking work, man. What are you doing? Stop messaging me. Okay, sure. Whatever, man. Let me do my thing, okay? Let me do my washing. Yeah, people talk. I could just imagine that. I'm out here power washing, doing my thing. Then he's just here in like the window. Or he's just standing here with like a beer in hand with Carlsberg, just... Oh, she back in the day, my girlfriend used to live here, you see. He's standing here drinking beer while watching me clean his garden. Like, come on, man. I didn't come here for your life story. I came here to clean. I didn't come here for people to talk. That sound, though. Hey, yes, a lot. How long have you been power washing for? People talk. Say, no, shut up, man. Stop. I'm gonna spray you down with the water. Stop. Go away. Go outside. I don't want to talk. I just want to do my job. Leave me alone. That's all clean. Okay. Wait. What was the button for this? There you go. Yeah, we can do this. The free mode aiming. I'm so inaccurate with this thing. Oh, the thumbstick is just too sensitive. Where's my aim assist? That's my dirt aim assist. I'm like, what is this inflatable flailing arm, guys? Oh my god. Yeah, one of those things you said at like a car dealership. Yeah, like that's basically what my arm is doing. Look at this. It's so hard to control it. That way, somehow clean that fence. I wish I had the window light. It's weird, man. Are you drunk or something? Thought you were supposed to be professional. What are you doing? Why are you just spraying it around like a maniac? Wait, hold on. I can. How do I do that? Oh, there you go. Now it just auto shoots. I don't even have to hold it. Oh, Jesus Christ. So anyway, back in the day, we didn't have power washers, you see, so we had people talk. Blah, 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 blah. No. Stop. Go away. Go into your living room or something. Watch TV. Let me power wash in peace. At least clean. Yeah. You shouldn't clean this first, you know. The ground. Since we're gonna be walking around, but whatever. Can I actually make it dirty again? Wait, why am I so slow? Oh, because I'm looking at the ground. No, I don't think I can make it dirty again. That'd be hardcore mode. Gotta watch where you step. Combo power washing. Like this. Oh yeah, it's just like very cleanup detail. Gotta be careful you don't step in blood, otherwise yeah, you're gonna leave bloody footprints and everything. And don't get your mob too bloody, otherwise yeah, you're just gonna put blood everywhere again. Damn right, it'll be just like that. Kinda strange that game still hasn't come to console. Like, I feel like so many games nowadays that are on PC has come to console now. Like this one. Although this one was also an Xbox. But, you know. Like that Planet Coaster game came to console. I don't know, strange. Strange Wizardry cleaning up details still hasn't come to console. That's where we draw the line. Alright, wait, I gotta clean this too. And then whatever happened to this doghouse. Can inspect the close up. He gave me $1 for that, for cleaning the doggo food bowl. That's not what I meant to do, but okay. This is what I meant to do. What the hell happened here on the back? What is this? What is this aiming? Jesus. ADS PowerWash. Yeah, you know, gotta see precisely where I'm aiming this thing. Gotta fully ADS with it. Need an ACOG on it to see all the dirt close up. What the fuck? It reaches all the way up to the sky. Monka W. What is the range in this thing? Oh my god. Spray down the doggo house. Nice. That's the doggo house clean, right? Yep. Can I go home now? This was just about the doggo house, right? Just watering the ground with this. Oh, okay. Apparently that's clean now. How did I draw? How did he not notice his garden was this dirty when he bought the house? I mean, I know he said there was no pictures of the garden or whatever. But like, didn't he get a tour of the house or something? Don't look outside. Whatever you do, just don't look outside. You know, this is about the house, right? You only care about the inside, right? So take a look at this bedroom right here. In fact, yeah, they just kept all the curtains closed the whole time. I don't know, man. How wouldn't you find that a little bit sus? How wouldn't you find that a little bit suspicious? Like, it's a bit weird. He exactly, it's a bit strange. Just want us to see the garden, the outside, but whatever. I'm sure it can't be that bad. I'm sure it can't be that bad, right? Ooh, this. Who the fuck is Joe? What's up? Do you do bikes? I could do some when running the thing over my deadbeat dirt bike. Only a dirt bike? Oh my god, it's fucking Calvin again telling me about his life story again. Wait, what is he saying? Her and I would climb up and down the rock garden all day, pretending we were rock rumbling Mount Rushless, and the pound was the crater. No idea how we explained the fish being there, though. Okay, sure, man. Sure, cool. Very cool story. About you and your girlfriend, and yeah, used to live here, but now let me keep cleaning. Just needs a little TLC. Bring your ideas. What? Bring your ideas. And what, then the place is just messed up and just needs a lot of, a lot of renovation. A lot of, yeah. Oh my god, how trolling. I don't know, just bring your own ideas. I'm just sure you'll be fine. I'm sure it'll work out. Oh my god, can I move this? Fucking annoying. Keeps pushing me, ruining my path. I have to clean under that too? Jesus Christ, man. Just needs a little bit of handiwork. just a little bit. I'm sure there's nothing you can't handle. It'll be fine. Just tiny bit of handiwork, you know? You need to renovate the entire building. Eventually, you gotta take it down and build a new one. Wait, I'm sure there's nothing you can't handle. A little bit of renovating. I feel like that's what everyone does in Denmark. When they buy houses now. They just take them down and build a new one. Because I think it's because all the houses are so outdated. All from like, I don't know, 20s to 40s. They are not up to today's standards. What the fuck, man? Dude, this is such an awkward area. But to clean. Switching nozzles while firing the power washer. What a pro. How did he do it? Or maybe he just has multiple power washers. Power washer guns. And he's just quick swapping them. That can stay dirty because they can't move it. What the fuck? That looks like a face. Bonker shake. Haunted fence. Wait. It's up on the D-pad. Oh, fuck. Wait, why did it stop? Jesus Christ. It's like, why is it still firing? Wonka. I lost control of my power washing gun. Hold on. Can I just accept that other job? I know. It'd be funny if I could. Just accept that bike job while I'm cleaning this guy's garden. This guy's too talkative, man. Get me out of here. Is that up for this? Pretty good, pretty good. Dirty table, dirty parasol. Hold on, is it also dirty on the other side? It is. And I have to do both sides. I can't wait to be done up here, because this whole table and chairs, they make this whole situation so awkward. How is it not clean? I guess because I have to do the other side too. Hey, Doc, welcome to the Park Warden. He definitely needs your help. What? What has he done? Park Warden? What happened in the park that needs my help? Jesus Christ. Just shooting it at the ground like that. I don't think this counts until I've done this. Quickly do that. Oh, shit. The circle technique. The spin technique. There we go. Actually surprisingly effective. The spin technique. Oh my god, no, stop. Stop shooting. Alright, there we go. Fan's done. I guess I'll get this over with. Let's go prone. Tactical cleaning. Actually, that wasn't that bad. It's already clean. I'm not dirty right there. No. That's just how it looks, apparently. Jesus Christ. An annoying chair to clean. Up. The cool chair, you clean? You're not clean. Missed a spot right there. There we go. Last chair. I don't know if we've had that part yet, but I'm surprised we don't have to name our company or something in this game. I guess that's not a thing in this. Thank God. Done with the chase. Don't tell me I have to clean the top of this thing too. No way. No way, right? Stop shooting. Oh my God, I do. I need the ladder. Nice. Oh my God, turn it off. Time to clean each individual rock. That's why it's so nice as a button that makes it so it just auto shoots. So I don't have to hold the trigger the entire time. Just, I don't know, man. Spray it all over the place. We gotta clean it all eventually. It says rock dirty. And that's not. I've cleaned all the rocks almost. Almost as good as new now. Nice. Oh, what the fuck? Hey, never mind, all these rocks are still dirty too. What the hell? I think I have dirt vision built into my eyeballs. It's like it was made for this job. How is this not clean yet? Jesus. Oh, that's clean. Apparently now the pool room. How is the pool not clean? Jesus. Because I near that tiny spot. The rocks are still dirty though. Aren't they fine now? I don't see any dirt anymore. Oh wait. Stone wall. Oh, it's because it counts this too. Ah, okay. That explains it. So, I don't know, it's hard to tell actually. It's just hard in general to tell. These are rocks for me if they're dirty or not. Hogwarts, new job available. Is this the dirt finder general? Got new details from a certain harbor show as there is an alleged dirt problem. Saw my dream RV at the auction, all creamy like a toffee bar on wheels. Shut the fuck up, Harper. Wait. No, this is my friend. I wouldn't know whether to drive it or lick it. Oh, wait, what? Lick your own car. Wait, this guy's my friend. This is not the guy. That's just people talking the whole time. We were power watching. Unfortunately, he sold out a crazy amount, but the dream lives on. Just go lick someone's car. I'm sure they'll let you. Oh my god. Oh wait, this needs cleaning too. There we go. God, I keep missing that. This is rock wall clean almost. Water the rocks. Joe, what are the grass while we're at it? Lay on the dirt. This is gonna be fun to watch again. The replay once we're fully done. In like 1,500,000 years from now. Because these rocks take forever. There's so many. That was the rim. That wasn't the rocks. Jesus Christ, man. These rocks are annoying as hell to clean. I gotta clean the bottom. The under part of the rock too. Jesus. That's the sun staring directly at us. Finally. Yeah, you better pay me 30 bucks for that. Fucking annoying to clean. This counted, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay, finally, we're done with all the fucking rocks. Ooh, nice. What are the guy's plans while we're at it? He better tip us good for that. We're watering his plants too. That new job available, so that means I could just leave this one? No. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, no, I can still clean that guy's bike. Clean playground? What the fuck happened to that? Like, is that like a mutt playground or something? Does that clean it? Yes. Does that clean that? Yeah. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Oh my god, ka-ching, ka-ching. Making all the money back. Making all the $2. $1. How's that not clean? Where's my money? How is that not clean? Thank you. That was $6. Yeah, gotta water this guy's plants while we're here. We're all done on the stairs, right? Yeah. We cool now? What? Jesus Christ, you need to clean the inside of the fucking birdhouse too? Oh my god, man. Okay, sure. Does you want me to clean every single fucking inch of your garden? Goddamn. I'm gonna fucking drown if the bird if there's one in here. You're gonna turn it into a pool. Not even clean. There you go. Gotta clean the grill. And this guy better come out here and grill some hot dogs with me after all this hard work. And making us listen to his fucking life story. While power washing. Better come out here and pay us in some hot dogs too. Once we've cleaned it, of course. So shiny now. What? Oh wait, that was this? Yeah, that was that. Okay. We're almost done. We just have 4 things left. The toy card, the bench here. The lawnmower. The lawnmower. Casper mowing. And then that little shed. The ultimate crossover. Casper mowing X power washing. Is this thing water resistant? I mean, I guess it is. It's supposed to be outside. Still, though, I don't know. Feels like I'm ruining it. Spraying all this water on it. Are we sure this can handle water? Hopefully he's not gonna hate me. Looks like you're almost done. My girls can't wait to get out there. I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. I don't have to listen to your life story anymore. I can't wait for you to come out here and make us some hot dogs. And that fresh new grill I just cleaned for you. Wait, what? Why did that one pillow count? Oh, because this one's still open. What? He gave me $1 just for cleaning the chain? Okay. Just the one chain. Oh, that's why it's not counting. Because I gotta clean the bottom as well. Nice. Oh. Can I jump on it here? I can. Oh. Don't even need my ladder. Maybe I do, because I can't really move that well. Nope. Who needs ladders when you've got Omega Jump? I like hovering in the air doing this. No. Hey, this is still dirty. What the fuck? Oh my god, I'm fucking underneath it too, man. Hey, man. Yo, what's up, Steven? What's up, Steven Seagal? Yep. You're here to witness the sick, legendary power washing sim gameplay. We're washing. Because as you know, one man washes the other. Holy fuck, it looks epic. It is. Fucking great. Cleaning this guy's garden. But he's being fucking annoying. Because he keeps telling me his life story while I'm cleaning. He's interrupting my cleaning work. Saturday Father Simulator. That is not even a Saturday. Sounds like a great game. Yeah. You know, just doing some casual power washing. How long have we been here? I wonder how long we spent on this one location. It's like we've been here for forever. You had no idea what it is. Oh, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's PowerWash simulator. Yeah, well, this is this is basically what you do. You have a power washing gun, and you just go around and clean places. This is for people. Like right now we're cleaning this garden, but there's also other things. And right now we're in career mode. Once we're done here, we can go clean a playground or a dirt bike. And there's also multiplayer, or co-op. You can, if you have a friend, you can power wash together with a friend. And there's also challenge modes, and I don't know, you can clean on moss apparently. It's pretty fun. It's pretty chill. I mean, all it's missing is just some music. I don't know why there's no music. It's a bit strange. And plus, once you're done cleaning, at the end it gives you a little video of you cleaning the whole place. Pretty fun to watch. Exactly. It's extremely satisfying. It's extremely satisfying and chill. Highly recommend. Highly recommend the power washing. One man washes the other. Let's help each other out. Damn right. And you can in this game, for sure. It has co-op too. It has co-op, but the co-op is a bit strange. Oh, well, it has crossplay, I mean. The crossplay is a bit strange. Because I think crossplay only works with PlayStation and Switch. And then PC can only crossplay with Xbox people. Very strange. It's something like that. I know, that's what I've been wondering this whole time too. How did this become so dirty? What the fuck were they doing here? Are they having like a mud fight or something? What the hell happened here, man? Now what the fuck happened? Mud fight, Smug Pepper. Yeah, you know, maybe they were having a mud fight. Tactical prone cleaning. I don't want to get my ladder. Can I just get up here? I can. Thank God we have super jump. I'm just hanging on like the ledge right now, power washing. Hanging onto the ledge with one hand, then power washing with the other. We cool? Is the fucking roof clean now? No. Not. What am I missing? Oh. That right there. The middle pot. How is it not clean? Don't make me get my ladle. Oh. Oh my god. Wait, it is clean, I think. That side's clean, but not this side. Oh my god. What? Oh. There we go. Cool? Jet's clean? I think so. What games do you have planned for today? But you think there's more than this? You think there's more than this? You don't think that this is the only game that we're playing? Because it is. I'm kidding. I mean, we'll probably play. I mean, we'll play this for as long as I'm liking it for, and then we're probably gonna switch to DBD to see Maurice. Our favorite boy is back in DBD. What? I picked up my ladder from all the way over there. Nah, yeah, but only this, and then some DBD whenever I get bored of this. At least that was the plan. Well, that is the plan. Imagine looking out your window. You just see the guy prone on the ground. Spraying the handle of the fucking lawnmower. Now this should be the last thing, right? Oh wait, what? I'm missing underneath the table over here? No way. Oh, I am. What the fuck? How did I miss this? I thought I did this. Was that a different table? DVD, Steven. Yep. It's better than nothing. Hey, thank you, Steven. Exactly. It's better than nothing. DVD. New update in DVD. Oh my god. Stop, stop! I lost control of my thing. And now this should be the last thing, this toy car. Spray it down. Fucking gotta fill it with water, man. How the hell is the seat so dirty? Oh, what? I'm missing the side of the grill? This has to be the last thing. Oh no, how? What the fuck? The inside of it too? Come on, man. Underneath here? How is it still 99? Oh, because it's still fucking the inside of the grill. Oh, what? I can't get that. There you go. It's still 99%. What am oh. Wait, it's still dirty, the control panel. Oh, is it underneath it? Ah, it is. It's still 99. What? What am I missing? What's not clean? Oh. Deb etch. Ah. What am I? Oh. The frame of the sofa swing. What? I don't see any dirt anywhere. Oh, back here. This has to be the last one now. For sure. For sure. Wait. Cushion. Oh my god, that's fucking... This? Really? You serious right now? How are you still gonna clean this? I'm just gonna drown the sofa. Can I even get this? Moon's turning the sofa into a water bed. Yeah, what the fuck, man? I'm trying to clean this tiny little gap because there's dirt in there. Thanks, spraying it down with water. Oh my god, there's still like the tiniest bit left. Man's gonna come out here when I'm done sitting on the sofa and it's just gonna poof, splash water everywhere. That's supposed to look like that. Oh, right there. There's still some here. Oh my god. How do you expect me to get that? Oh, like that. It's still not 100. What am I missing? Oh. What did I just look at? Fence? Fence. Oh, fence post. Ah, is it the last bit? It's still not the last. Wait, it just saw it. It's this post right here. Why even is the dirt, man? Oh, right there. That's still not the last. I have no idea. I have no idea where this last bit of dirt is. Come on, man. Hit me with a rewatch of Contract to Kill. Oh shit. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that because as we talked about, yeah, that was yesterday. That the birdhouse, because that is one of the best, one of the classic Steve movies. The fucking feet, man. What? Oh, it's probably beneath it. Ah, yeah, there you go. That's where all the dirt is hiding. Hey. Oh, now it's telling me what I'm missing. Sweet. Jesus Christ. Oh, man, excited. You going to pick that up? Fuck no. And then once that's done, he goes upstairs, sits in the chair, and he's like, "Oh, this is my baby girl." And so he does that little giggle. And fights all those guys while sitting down in his chair. And of course that we don't care about anyone's religion. It's like the great Genghis Khan would said, "Pay tax to me. Practice your own religion, but pay tax to me." And then the best line. It's like a monkey trying to fuck a football. This fake man, it's a whole fucking mess. And don't trust Intel. You can never trust Intel. But hey, Intel, that's what they say. If you like them, we give them a box of chocolate. If not, then we kill them. Yeah. Oh, Steven. Oh, this side right here. Fence post. I mean, that could be any fucking fence post. What's fence post specifically? Oh, This? Oh, it's apparently this, yeah. It's probably on the other side, the dirt. Oh no, it's right there. There we go. Steep wall. What the fuck is a steep wall? Is it this? And of course that too. The... Damn, I'm good. What the fuck? Oh, I got it apparently. Fucking finally. Hey dog, Cal here. I've got a job for you over at my folks' bungalow. You can fit it in. Oh, you got it, Calvin. I'll pick my own team. I don't need a team. I'll pick my own team. And I'm gonna need a jet. Ah, yeah. I mean, I'll be down for that. Fuck yeah. Cause that, I mean, it just has way too many. Oh man, it doesn't have any right to, but yeah, it just has way too many good Steven lines and moments. It's amazing. Yeah, I'll be down for that. I'll be down for a rewatch of that. For now, let's have a rewatch of how we cleaned this place. Look at me go. Looks so silly, me standing on the roof. Thanks again on the great job. And if I hear anyone in need, I'll send them your way. Where do you think you're going? I'm gonna get my partner back. And then he loads a gun. Go to get my partner back. Deep end. Ah, yeah, sure. We'll get. Wait, can I like buy anything? Octopus. I'm going to get my partner back. What's this? These are just cosmetics. Cleaning liquids. Everything was all dirt types from glass. There's a range of the washer, but cannot be used when close to a surface. Use with liquid with cleaning liquid to rapidly cover all dirt types. Oh wait, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, this is the only thing they have? Power washers? What the fuck? Wait, oh my god, stop. That's the only power washer they have? A spinning 0-degree nozzle to increase the area effect on taking maximum pressure. Crucial range was the video too. Let me get this. I don't know if I need this yet. I want to buy the octopus gloves though. What? $200 for octopus gloves? Wait, hold up a second. And then this is $250. I'm gonna go fucking bankrupt because of octopus gloves. Wait, can I even buy them? I can't. I fuck it. Going bankrupt if we have to. Yep. Oh, wait, so this is my new nozzle. I don't even know why why did I buy $200? Why did I buy a $200 octopus glove when I can't even see my own gloves? My own hands. What the fucking solid investment, man. Anyway, still clean this fucking dirt bike. Get me out of here. I need money. It's gotta be somewhere with dirt bike. You see, one of life's winners. Every morning I put 4 slices of bread in the toaster, but only eat the slice that pops up first. What? When I have a coffee, I only drink the bit that wins the razor to my mouth. But on this bike, I always finish dead last. Wondering if there's much stuck on the manifest. Whatever it is, slow me down. I'm also kind of superstitious, so I haven't cleaned the thing in over 15 years. Thanks. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, man. Wait, what? I mean, is that also what we're watching on Saturday? If it's not too late? I'm not too tired. Oh, we're back in the garage. What is this new nozzle? Oh, it's look at that. It spins. Oh, that's fucking sick. It's already 50% done? Jesus Christ, man. How has he used this bike for over fucking 15 years but never watched it? Man, it's just been sitting on mud every time. His clothes must look fucking terrible then. Already 89% done. Oh. Is that the tire done? Yeah. That was the tire, right? Not just the rims. I think they're both done. Well, good thing I bought this nozzle. It's perfect for this job. $97. Wait, the engine? Engine then. Front suspension. That was the front suspension. That was the radiator. Oh, what the fuck else is dirty on this thing? Oh. Rear fender. What? No. Sprocket? Sprocket? What the fuck is that? I don't know what that is. Oh. That was that, and what's the last thing? Fairings? What the hell is that on this? Is it this? What, the other side? Oh, is it this? I don't know, I somehow cleaned it. Just keep spraying water on it, we'll get it eventually. I can't even find it with my dirt vision. Spray the bike down, we'll get it eventually. Am I ready to read a Steven movie? Oh shit, just like we did yesterday? What do we got today? What's on the menu today? Can I like buy a dirt detector or something? What the fuck, man? Alright. Oh, you got a link? Okay. Hold on. Oh wait. Oh, there do have other ones. I shouldn't get to 15. Ah, okay. Oh, well, we can almost get this. Oh, well. Almost have it unlocked. Buying it is another issue. Is it like in here? Where is this tiny spot that I'm missing? Wait, we'll check out the link in a second. Oh, there you go. I got it. Holy shit. What the fuck? Hey, you can see my octopus gloves in the replay. Look at me fucking crouching around the bike, inspecting it. Why the fuck is this last piece of dirt? Or is it? No dirt can hide from me. Look at this. Look at him, man. Look at this dirt goblin crouching around the bike, trying to find the dirt spot. Man, this would be so fucking funny. Watching like 4 people walk around this bike trying to clean it. Clean as an accurate legend. Nothing can stop you now. Stop me now. I'm at the playground and the house. These two are probably gonna take really long, so yeah. Let's quickly watch this, and we'll probably take a little break and come back, and then we'll do one of these. Oh, my desk here. What did you learn? What is this? Oh, it's this movie called Killing Salazar, but then it's also called Cartel. Again, I mean, all the Steven, like I said last time, all the Steven movies, they like blend in together for me. But I think I do remember some stuff from this.
72 hours ago,
Hey, it is the one, yeah. It is the one with the interrogation scene. Oh my god. When they call me.
72 hours ago, my team confirmed location of Salazar.
Salazar's the boss of one of the most violent cartels in Eastern Europe.
Make sure we do not kill him here. I need him alive.
Oh, then he shoots him. They already just spoiled the movie. You just saw how it ended.
The body in the bag is a one Joseph Salazar. We're bringing him stateside.
What are you waiting for, soldiers? Go.
What the?
Everyone is surprised to see me alive.
The government has him.
DEA faked his death, so his people would know we flipped him. Salazar is going to be our star witness for the next 10 years.
The cartel wants him.
We have to sit him for 24 hours.
The cartel's gonna be.
It is the one with the legendary interrogation scene.
We're sitting ducks.
When they send somebody. Oh, you're gonna live or you're gonna fucking die.
But only one man.
Who the hell are you? I'm the guy you should have called when you went sideways.
Hey, it has that moment from the trailer. I'm the guy you should have called when your shit went sideways.
Can one man.
Who the hell are you? I'm the guy you should have called when you went sideways.
It's censored in the trailer. It's censored the shit. They didn't say it, but I 100% remember him saying it. Just, I'm the guy you should have called when your shit went sideways. Who the fuck are you? I'm the guy you should have called when your shit went sideways. Exactly, it is in my fucking Steam description. I'm the guy you should have called when your shit went sideways. Just one more time.
But only one man.
Who the hell are you? I'm the guy you should have called when you went sideways.
The guy you should have called when your shit went sideways.
When they call me in, it ain't a joke. When they call me in, you're gonna live or you're gonna die.
He just says say fucking die, and they censored it.
What they started.
Even. Oh my god, this hotel shootout scene is so goofy with Steven walking in.
It doesn't end until I see a dead man in a body bag.
Okay, well, allow me.
Steven Seagal. George St. Pierre. And Luke Goss.
What is this movie?
Do not think you can play me.
Hey. Now let's get to the
Cartels.
fucking nitty gritty. Yeah, like yeah, that's like how the movie ends, isn't it? The fucking hotel shootout in the end. Jesus Christ, man, they like spoiled half the movie for you. This is the most replayed part. Why is this the most replayed part?
Can protect him.
When they call me in, it ain't a joke.
Oh, I can see why this is the most replayed part.
When they call me in, you're gonna live or you're gonna die.
It sounds so terrible because it's censored. I mean, we have the real version. Fuck, I don't remember what number that is. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Fuck, I don't remember what Steven sound effect that is. Maybe it's 7. Let me try 7. Oh no, that's that one. I don't remember which one this is.
Listen to me, you motherfucker. I know all of your fucking immoral, dirty, rotten, criminal shit, and I don't care. I got my own fish to fry. You sent somebody to kill me, and you missed. You know what that means. You make another fucking move or blink the wrong way, I will kill you. I will kill your fucking mother. I will kill your fucking dog.
That hangs up phone. Back to sleep, I guess. Oh, I don't remember which Steven number sound effect is this. I just want to hear this again, though. Where was it? Oh, it's right here.
But only one man
Who the hell are you? I'm the guy you should have called when you went sideways.
I'm the guy you should call your shit with sideways. Holy shit, it sounds so fucking terrible though, because it's censored. It sounds so terrible because it's censored. But hey, that is also a quality fucking... I mean, is it a quality Steven movie? I mean, he does have some funny fucking amazing Steven moments. But like, I don't remember if he's in much of that movie. Is he in it for that long? I don't remember that one. Well, like 50-50, I think, with that one. The screen time. But yeah, he had some amazing moments, like the interrogation scene. Yeah, he wasn't there much. I mean, yeah, like that. This movie is another case of where he's not barely there, but every time he's there, it's just like, holy shit, it's Steven. Oh, of course you set the contract to kill. That might be the one with the most screen time, to be honest. That might be the one with the most Steven screen time. But he's literally there for the whole movie. He's actually like the main star of the movie. And he's just throwing Steven one-liners left and right. Yeah, you linked another one. You linked the one for General Command. Hold on.
The CIA is your home.
He
Defending
is.
America is your life.
I've done a lot of things that they will never let you know about. I'm done.
I'm done.
Like you to fund?
Hey, there it is, the yacht scene.
It's about what's right in the world.
We're starting our first operation.
The dark web is where anonymous buyers use cryptocurrencies to buy guns, drugs, and organs. All anonymous, all untraceable. Teams, checking signals.
My game is on, guys.
Time to save the world.
heroes
Steven at the yacht.
without
Fuck, man, the music.
borders. Steven Seagal,
Is this the one that has that fight scene at the bridge?
Merry Christmas,
Here at the,
General Commander.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's the final fight scene. Oh, you just saw Howard in the amazing. What the hell, man? That one is also pretty good. I mean, that one he's in more of. And of course, he has that smug Steven scene at the yacht. He's just negotiating business while he's being all smug, like, it's me. One of the worst final fights. And we literally just saw it. Yeah, it's really not that exciting like some of the other ones. Oh yeah, that's true. That's the it's the one that has the phone call. The hey, somebody you said somebody to kill me. And you missed. Now you know what that means. And my van's out there. I'll kill you, mother. I'll kill your fucking dog. Jesus, Steven. Relax, man. That might be another 7. Same with cattails. Might also be like a 6 or 7. I feel like that's what I give all of them. I feel like that's what I give all of them, where he's just barely in the movie. But I mean, that's just because when he's actually there, he makes up for it with some fucking silly classic Steven one-liners. Yeah, pretty much. Barely Steven, and it's like an Insta 6-7. As long as he still, you know, does something Steven like. As long as he still does his Steven thing. Yeah, contract to kill. Now that is really a legendary one. That is like a 10. 10 or 9. Because, oh shit, man. Fucking Steven one-liners left and right, and he is just there throughout the whole entire movie. How about the gnomes over here now? Huh? He's hiding from me. Pressure's off. Jesus Christ, this game has 41 trophies. Crazy. But yeah, we're probably gonna do one of these big jobs next. House at the playground. House, should be honest. But before we do that, I think we'll take a nice little break. Nice little break, and we'll come back and clean and power wash some more. Yeah. Nice little break, then we come back, clean the big house, and then we might switch to DVD after. We'll see. But now enjoy the penguin game that's on the maintenance. Yeah, Let's do it, shall we? Let's go clean this house. See how long that takes, and then see what time we have left, and switch to some DVD afterwards. Hey, Doc. I mentioned my folks, but I think it's time that Bongo met your pressure washer. It's so filthy, it's hard to tell where the ground ends and where the house begins. When I mentioned you to Ma, her eyes lit up, popped a moan, and said, the brown at the porch, the warm with the torch. What? This clearly means nothing, so he's overruled. If you give the place a good cleanup, I'm sure he'll give them both a lift. Thanks again, Cal. Oh, but it tells you here. So wait, I can just look at this? See what I'm missing? Okay. That makes it a bit nicer to keep back at everything. Alright. Alright, let's see here. What are we dealing with? With the ball. Oh my god, it works. Doesn't it go anywhere? It's literally just a house. Oh my fucking god. How does the house even end up like this? Was that like a mud storm? How does this happen? Oh, thank god they gave me a ladder. I was about to say, how am I supposed to clean this? There's no ladder. What the fuck? There's a cat up there. Kitty. Kitty. No. Kitty doesn't react to the water. Well, let's fucking go. This place looks fucking abandoned. How does this happen? You know what? Let's start with the ground. So glad you're here. Cal's such a good boy. He's a vocalist, you know. Volcanologist? Not vocalist. Is it even clean? That's not even cleaning. That cleans it. What the? Oh, it's still dirt on the side. Well, at least the drive-thru's clean now. This isn't clean for shit. Well, one thing down, whole house to go. Is that dirt? No. No, it's not dirt. You know, if this is in real life, you probably shouldn't have cleaned the ground first, because, well, all the dirty water's gonna go back to the ground. From power washing the house. It's actual mud on the side of the house. How the fuck does this happen? How in the world does this happen? How do you walk in and out of your house with a door and walk past that dirty? Jesus Christ, man. If this is what the outside of your house looks like, what the fuck does the inside look like then? Jesus. This item on your wish list is now on sale. I'm glad it's nothing sus this time. It's just Diablo 2. Like Valley clean something. Alright, the entire fucking window. Wouldn't it be funny if they opened the window right now? I'll get a free shower out of it. Well, hopefully no one's about to leave the house. Gonna get sprayed. There you go, move that out the way. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll lower the FOV a bit. 80. No need for bonker gigger FOV in this game. Feels so much faster now. But then now that we're more zoomed in. Not clean yet. The frame is not clean yet. Yeah, the window frame's not clean. What? Why is this tiny bit of dirt on the window frame? Excuse me? No. What the hell? I don't know. That is... Wait, it's on... Wait, what is it? Window? Window frame. Oh, is it beneath it, maybe? Oh, yeah, it was. Can't hide from me, dirt. Jesus. This does nothing. Damn, it might actually need to ladder over here. so satisfying. Yes. Stray. The cat game. No, is it dirty? No, we'll save this for another wall. I wanna draw something. We'll save that for the other wall on your side. That's still really dirty. This one's not dirty enough. We've cleaned too much of it. Oh god, stop. Nice. That doesn't do anything. Doesn't clean it. Dump. I need my little ladder. Not tall enough. Did that even help? Did that even help? It doesn't feel like it though. Damn it! I know I need the bigger ladder. I wonder what the neighbors must think. People have this dirty ass house. Several items have new deals. Not only Diablo 2 and Stray. I mean, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to the ceiling. Cool, we've cleared this whole wall, I think, maybe? Looks like it. Sure, I looked at the time. What the time was when we started this. It's like, I don't know, 2 hours and 14 minutes into the stream or something? Something like that. Wait, so hold on a second. Range. That fucking Discord had me worried for a second. Had me worried for a second that we weren't live. Apparently I don't have the thing. The thing on Discord that tells you that I'm streaming. Had me worried for a second. Oh wait, no. There we go. When did that go away? When did that disappear? Oh well. Interesting. And before we're not live. We've been shadow banned. Shadow banned for playing PowerWash then. Ma keeps mentioning me, they're getting really excited with how it's looking. Sounds like it's going great. Yeah, just don't tell them to not open any windows right now, okay? Unless they want to get a free shower, I guess. That was the frame. At the window. There we go. Oh, now it says it again. Just Discord acting up, I guess. What's green moss? Half a circle. I waited. Yeah, we still got this side to, yeah. Perfect. We can draw on this side when we get to that. Do I have to clean this whole thing? Oh no, it's still a lot of dirt actually. How am I supposed to get this? Can I even? I can. There you go, thank God. Thank God that didn't take too long. Getting that fence. No, but there's another one. Of course, on the other side. How is that not going away? There we go. Porch roof. Jesus Christ, this porch is taking so long. How does it get this dirty? What are you doing? How does this happen? How does the dog get this dirty? Do you like never leave your house or something? And you're like, how does this happen? And I guess they're like me, they never leave the house. I don't know. That's how the dog gets like this. What? That's the porch clean? Fucking that moss just disappeared. Alright, well. I'll take it. Hey. The Discord bot finally shouted out the stream. Fucking only 3 hours late, but hey. I got it done, which is what matters, right? Better late than never. Alright, gotta get the fucking tendency. Dream Core is here. He was here yesterday too, but man, today, Jesus Christ. Fucking 3 hours late, Jesus. Come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing for 3 hours? What took you so long? What were you doing for 3 hours stream code? I take the football with me. It's a souvenir. Oh. Did I clean the fence? I think it did. You thought the stream crashed or something? Nah, I thought so too at some point, but no, we've been here for a solid 3 hours. No interruptions. Oh, but also, like, if you go to Discord right now, I don't have the streamer status thingy. That keeps going away and coming back. I don't know. I guess Discord is having issues, maybe. Or Twitch or something. The notification system. Something's not right, at least. Leo as streamer? I know, right? Me as streamer? What is that? That's like common knowledge right there. I'm not a streamer. Everyone knows me as a YouTuber, of course. Yes. Oh my god, no, I cannot believe he just said that. TikToker feels good, man. Oh my god. Hell no. The infamous TikToker. LeoXDrb. Jesus Christ, man. But you can stream on there, can't you? What? You can only stream for like a minute or something, and then you gotta restart the stream? Stroggers, yeah, I have no idea. Never used the app. Never opened it before or downloaded it or anything. And well, plan to keep it like that. Hey, you missed a spot, man. Okay, apparently even Pops is out of his rocking chair now and having a look. Tell him to open the window, it'll be funny. Tell him to open the window, it'll be funny. It's Glitch. It's the Twitch logo. Mascot or whatever. It's Glitch. Pretty sure that's his name. I don't know, that's It's supposed to be feels budget man, but I don't know what the hell it looks like. Very strange drawing, that's what it looks like. We're just watering his wall. It needs a bit of watering the wall. No. Gonna need my ladder again. Yep. Okay. All the tiny little spots we missed. Jesus. Ladder time. No, I can't run with the ladder. Guess that makes sense. I don't know why you would run with a ladder in the first place. Seems a bit dangerous. Hold on a second. It says like multi-purpose. Is that like one of these things I can buy? Variety removes all dirt types on many different. Oh, I see. To make it more efficient. Okay, I mean. Nice. Damn it. Can't get over here. Well, now we only have the roof left. Do it. Man, what the fuck happened over here? The fuck happened? DPD. DVD hard. Yeah, let's just leave like that. Yep. They love DBD in this house. I'm out of here. Seems good, man. 717 bucks. Yeah, I'll take. They can keep the dirty roof. .360 store getting axed, kinda. I saw that earlier before the stream. They are removing some games from the 360 store. Very fucking strange. Very strange that there's just some of them. Might as well just keep them, you know? Well, you only remove some of them. What, huh? Aw. Yeah, and it closes in like a week, right? Or something. Well, I mean, since they're doing that, then it would only make sense that you would still be able to get them on the new store. Hopefully, right? Right? I mean, that would only make the most logical sense as to why they're shutting it down. Not shutting it down, but you know, removing it from the 360 store. What the fuck? Oh. I feel down on OG 360. Who knows? I'll hopefully give some more information about that soon. Still That's fucking strange, though. Well, who knows? Maybe the same thing will happen as with PlayStation. Bully them enough, and they won't do it. Yeah. They were supposed to shut down the PSP, Vita, and PS3 store. That was, I don't remember what that was. That was like last year, 2 years ago or something. But then the internet bullied PlayStation enough, and they decided to only shut down the PSP store, which I mean, that's fair to be honest, I suppose. Still sucks, but I mean, PSP, I guess. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Vita's still there. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they kept PS3 and Vita in the end. At least, I mean, they kept PS3 for sure. I'm just not too sure about the Vita one. If that got kept or not. I think it did. Yeah, I mean, if everyone can do that again, but with Microsoft, bully them enough and make them think about this decision again, and then they won't do it. Who knows? You know one guy that had a PSP, that's it. Oh man. Whole PSP. BCS. BCS? Where's BCS? Oh no.
Yes, sir?
I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss.
Did you go up to his trailer?
Yes, I did.
Well, I'd say he's at work. Do you want to leave a message?
Yeah, he's at work. Power washing.
Where does he work?
Sir, I ain't at liberty to give out no information about our residents.
Where does he work?
Did you not hear me? We can't give out no information.
Where does he work?
Sir,
Where does he work?
I can't say.
He's a power washer.
Do you want to leave a message?
Where does he work?
Sir.
Where does he work?
Sir. He left. He'll never find me at my power washing job. He'll never expect me to be a power washer. But I see Vice City Story. Gotcha. I had that too for my PSP. I think that was like the game I played the most on that. Yeah, we're power washing this old couple's house. And who the fuck knows how this happened? How it got this dirty. Almost done. We just need the roof. Oh my god. Oh, so back in my day, we used to have to go over the roof to wash the shelling my hair, you see. Nowadays, you got it easy. You got that fancy PowerWash device thing. Got the fancy water device now. Nowadays, you have it easy. And how much is all this water gonna cost me, by the way? You see, I plan on taking a shower later today, so, you know. I don't want to be out of water by then. You think I'm running a water company here, son? Come on. Don't be so wasteful with the water. Be more resourceful. Don't use like half a gallon in one spot. Stop. Let me come up there and help you. Let me show you how we used to do it back in my day. Comes up here and just does it himself. Oh my. This button. Holy fuck, man. There's so much moss under there. Am I wearing fall protection? I'm wearing a blue hazmat suit. Is that enough? Going to fall off of this man's roof. I am, because could you... Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's probably so slippy now because of all the water we've been spraying with it. Oh my god. Monka shake. Monk slip? Nah, I'm wearing a blue hazmat suit with pink octopus gloves. Is that enough fall protection? The doctor doesn't approve. Shit, it doesn't reach. That's all they have right now. We just started up this company. I can't afford fall protection gear. Still long fall boots from Aperture. You see, now that's what we need. Can we get sponsored by them? Can they sponsor my water power washing company? Did the guy have me sign a waiver? Easy, not liable. See, he signed his waiver. I'm not responsible for him, boy. It's not my fault. I don't have to do anything. He signed the waiver. Should have thought. He should have thought twice about going up there. Not liable for injuries, robberies, alien abductions, and kill tricks for sudden combustion, etc. Yeah, you know, the usual. The usual that happens. No No power washing problems or injuries. Don't you hate it when you're just, power washing someone's ceiling or roof? And then an alien ship just shows up to abduct you? Oh man, it sucks. Right when you're about to finish power washing too. Alien not pleased. No, what? The alien is not pleased with my power washing? What, he thinks he can do better? Or does he want me to... Does he want me to power wash his alien ship? Two gutters post. Oh my god, that could be any fucking post on the whole fucking property. Oh, you didn't clean that post. What post? There's no that post. You be more specific? Yeah, the post. Just go watch the post. Exactly, the post. The post. Come on, don't be stupid now, son. Go watch the post. I'll be watching you. I'll be waiting. The post office. Yep. You want to take up? Can power wash the post office for him. Post office? That's what you're talking about, right? Yo, the post, sir. You know. The post. Probably not do that while walking backwards. Alright, look what I wrote. D, B, D, R. Can I just leave this on his roof? So we're trying to deliver the mail. They haven't had a shower today. Let me help him out here. There you go, buddy. Fucking then all the mail becomes soaked. Jesus Christ. Hope you didn't have anything important. Hope you didn't have anything important in there. The Twitter post. Yeah, it's like 99% junk mail. Yeah, pretty much. So no harm was done. Nothing of value was lost. If anything, we helped everyone out. Oh man, fuck, you didn't get a newspaper coupon for a shop you never go to. Things you never buy, oh man. Sucks. Didn't get that 5% coupon, Whatever are you going to do now? Disaster. It doesn't clean that well. Yep. Need a dirt binoculars. We're almost done though. It's at 96%. It's just gonna be annoying as hell to find this last post, wherever the hell that may be, on the property. When we get it to 99%. spider senses or whatever. My cleaning senses. My power washing senses. To find this one post. Pew, 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 pew. Ah! Scared me. What the fuck? The fucking roof just fucking flashbangs me. Jesus Christ, man. Again, I should probably not do that while walking backwards. Walking on the roof. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's probably not the best idea. Pepper moonwalk. Watch me wash your roof in style. Oh, well, here we go. Time to find this fucking one post with this tiniest speck of dirt on it. I feel like I cleaned all. Oh no, it's this one right here. Oh, thank God. Hopefully this is the only one. Oh my God, it was. Thank God we did it. Oh my God, I got $1,000 from this. Jesus. Oh my God, that XCOM music is so loud. Hell yeah. Game needs some music. It sure does. Like, why is there no music? Is that like a bug or something? Anyone played this before? Is there music on PC? It's just so weird. There's no music playing. Nice work, Commander. Good job on that cleaning and that power washing. You have played this before, Langrid? Then PC. You probably had it turned off and were listening to your own music. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, oh, hey, that's us. Look at us go. Where did I go? Come back. Oh wait, look, it says DVD hot on the fucking roof. Oh my God. Roll that clip again. What? Look at the ceiling. Look at the roof. DVD hot. All of a sudden, just pops in. Nice. Ah, that's good. That's great. Yeah, watch over your binoculars. Well, it looks amazing, Doc. Thank you. I won't believe the impact it had. Miles down the woods picking flowers. It pauses, muttering excitedly about another job he's got for you. You hear from a Leonard Mill. That'll be him. What the fuck? Man, he's trying to steal my name. He forgot an O at the end. It's fucking Calvin again, man. The guy that never shuts the fuck up. This was his mom and dad's place that we just power washed. Fucking Calvin, the people talker. Guy that never shuts the fuck up. Now it's just this playground. Oh wait, now I can fight this. Now I can get this right. Yeah. Stubborn. What the hell does that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but what does it mean in this context of power washing? Stopper, and like sometimes it doesn't want to turn on. Or what's up? New GD pressure washer specifying stubborn dirt removes such as graffiti. Oh. Oh, so it's good for graffiti. This thing sounds fucking powerful. Stubborn dirt. Put a hole in the man's wall. I mean, it's almost right. This thing sounds fucking powerful. Jesus Christ. Probably thinks there's a fucking storm outside right now. Stubborn dirt. You're no match for this thing. Extension. Wait, what is that? Oh, right, it's this thing to make it better in short range and long range. This is the first thing I bought. $200 gloves that I can't even see. Great investment, don't you think? The best investment, right? I think those are like the most expensive gloves too. They next to that, 200. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like after the first 2 jobs that we did, this was the first thing I spent my money on. Pink octopus gloves, $200. Solid investment. Money well spent. Company money well spent. Okay, there it is. Octopus emoji. That's purple. Supposed to being pink like the gloves. Alright, the clothing's down here. Oh, I can buy some of these now. I want this one. Why can't I get this one? Yeah, this one doesn't sound as powerful as the one we just got. Wait, now I can't get it. Oh, wait, I can. No! Fucking invincible wall. Rip the ball. Does it? I guessing it saves. Oh, I'm guessing it just saves automatically. Probably. Jesus Christ. I don't want to lose my almost 4 hours of power washing progress. Now, though, I think that's enough power washing for today. Now it's time to go. Time to welcome back our boy. Time to welcome back our boy. Oh, wait, the controller's charged. Our horse buddy, Maurice.